Okay, it's 7:01, and we're going to get started. So I call to order the 2025 AGM. Welcome, everyone. As we proceed this evening, I'm going to ask you to keep your microphone off unless you're speaking, and that will just help as far as background noise for all of us. If at any point you have a question, if you use the raise hand function, that will be helpful. We'll keep an eye out for those. But yeah, if you can keep your mic off, and that'll just make sure that we can keep things running smoothly without background noise. So I'm Katie de Block Boersma. I'm current chair of the Stratford Perth Museum Board. Very excited to welcome everyone here this evening. I'm going to turn things over to our general manager, Kelly McIntosh, and she will get us started with the first item on the agenda.
Thank you, Katie, and thanks everybody for attending the AGM. The AGM is a wonderful opportunity for the museum to share information with our members and with the public. And we're grateful to you all for having such a strong interest in the museum and for attending this evening. A reminder that our Constitution says that you need to be a member in good standing to make a motion, to be a seconder, and to vote. You do not need to be a member to raise questions or to comment or raise comment on issues that arise. There will be an opportunity to do that. So we're going to begin with our first motion of the evening, the approval of the 2024 minutes. Now, Aidan is going to, if you could just share those on the screen. Many of you, the board members and those who requested a link, did receive the minutes. And for everyone else who doesn't have them, we just want to give you a second to take a look at them. Great, thank you, Aidan. And we do have a signed copy of those minutes. I would like to ask the membership for approval of the 2024 minutes, which were distributed to the board and just shared now. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes for the 2024 AGM? David Stones, thank you. And a seconder. Janice Richardson, thank you. Any discussion? Is anyone opposed to the approval of the 2024 minutes? Okay, can I call for a vote, please? Carried. At this point, we will go to the president and board chair report, which was pre-recorded by Katie de Block Boersma. So you will be seeing that now. Aidan, could you please play the video? Okay, Aidan, I think we're having trouble hearing it, but I know you're fixing that for us right now.
And as it's being
Good
fixed,
evening,
I'll enjoy
everyone.
that.
I'm Katie de Block Boersma, the current chair of the Stratford Perth Museum Board, and it's my distinct pleasure to welcome everyone to our annual general meeting for 2024. We started 2024 with some changes at the leadership level of the museum, with Kelly McIntosh stepping into her first full year as general manager and me coming into my first year as chair. it was an interesting time to be stepping into these roles because the museum was about to put in place a new strategic plan. So the timing really felt like a great opportunity for Kelly and I, along with the current board, our staff, volunteers, to really start thinking about the future direction of the Stratford Perth Museum. The Stratford Perth Museum has had an amazing few years before 2024. Even with the challenges of COVID, the museum had remained strong, both from a financial standpoint, as well as a programming, events, and exhibit standpoint. So we came into 2024 with the intention to really continue strengthening and building on that solid foundation. And the strategic plan that we put in place really exemplifies that. Looking into the future, we've already started working on some of those goals we set during the 2024 year. We're very excited about bringing an agricultural exhibit project into the museum, and we have a committee working on that right now, and it's been top of mind for the board. We've also been looking at our legacy campaign, which many of you will know was established a couple of years ago. And coming into 2025, there's going to be much more focus on that campaign as we build for the future of the museum. I'm happy to report that 2024 hit the mark on all fronts. We ended with a surplus of over $22,000, which is a significant achievement in our current economic climate. I spoke earlier about the strategic plan, and there was much work done by staff, volunteers, the board, under the leadership of David Stones, who led us through that process, laying out the groundwork for what's going to come next for the museum. Looking back at the year, there are several highlights, including a very successful innkeepers dinner, many events. The museum really has become a hub for community events where it's not just the museum putting them on, but other community partners, organizations, people coming and using our facilities, which are just so fantastic for the different events that our community is putting on. As we move into the next year, I wish to express my deep thanks to two board members who are leaving us, David Stones and Brent Shackleton. Both have been long-term supporters of the museum and have put considerable time and energy into the work that's gone on over the past couple of years. And we wish to thank them so much for their work and dedication, and we certainly hope to continue seeing them as we continue connecting moving forward. And I wish to preemptively welcome two board members who will be put on the table tonight as a motion to join us for the coming 2025 year. Laura Pogson and Eddie Matthews, both again long-term supporters of the museum, and we really look forward to welcoming them to the board and seeing what energy they're going to bring as we step into the next leg of the museum's future. I'll leave all the other details to the reports that are in front of you from our general manager, our committees, as well as my report. And once again, thank everyone for being here this evening. We certainly see the support and the love for our museum when we come together like this, and we look forward to seeing what 2025 will bring.
Thank you so much, Katie. Can we have a motion to approve the president's report? Oh, I got to get on gallery here. Mike Valakat, and a seconder? David Stones? Okay, any comments? Any opposed? Can we call for a vote? Carried. Fantastic. At this point, we are going to go to the Finance Chair's report presented by Janice Richardson. That was also pre-recorded. So Aidan, if you could cue Janice and that video, that would be great.
Good evening, everyone. I am pleased to report the museum had another successful year. We had projected a balanced budget and we ended up with a surplus of over $22,000. We originally budgeted for revenues of $504,000 and ended the year with $543,000, a surplus of $39,000. For government grants, we receive additional funding for hiring students and an intern that we were able to take advantage of during the year. Grants received from the federal government for student wages was $7,000 more than we had planned. Our self-generated revenues exceeded our budget by over $15,000. Particularly the revenues for admissions, education, and gift shop sales generated $12,000 more than we had expected. The remaining surplus came from receiving interest on a GIC investment. The results for memberships and donations was again once very positive. Although our memberships did not meet our budgeted amount, the deficit has been offset by an increase in public donations. We were only able to track $1,000 in educational sponsorships this year, for which we had budgeted $2,000. However, we were able to attract $2,000 more in exhibit sponsorships than we had originally planned for. The aggregate of our self-generated revenues is a $2,000 surplus. We are continuing to expand our fundraising and special events. Our special events have generated $14,000 more than expected. We put on numerous wellness seminars, various concerts at our outdoor venues, and the Rod Beatty Christmas Carol Revival, all of which were very well received and allowed us to exceed our goals for special events. Unfortunately, with a substantial rise in food costs for the first time in many years, the Innkeepers Dinner and Auction netted a deficit of $2,400. We again took part in the car rally, which contributed to our successful year. Moving on to the expenses, we budgeted for $504 and we ended up spending $521, $17,000 over budget. Our salaries came in under budget by $12,000. Changes in staffing mainly created variances between regular, part-time, and student wages, but the main driver in this surplus was a reduction in the benefits as a result of retiring employees. Building operational costs are mostly set costs, and there are only minor variances in most of those expenses. However, in total, our building operations netted a deficit of $9,500. The majority of this deficit came from a change in contract in yard maintenance, which previously had been donated back to the museum, but this no longer happens with the current contractor. Our biggest savings in this area was in janitorial costs, coming in at almost $2,000 less than we had expected. Building and elevator maintenance also came in at a combined $2,400 more than we had planned. There was a maintenance test required on the elevator that's required once every 5 years. That cost over $3,000, and this had not been budgeted for. Lastly, due to this successful year we had, we were able to contribute $11,000 to the capital asset plan as we had originally budgeted for. Museum operations were over budget by $16,000. Our auditing costs were $5,000 more than we had expected, and this was an unexpected increase. I mentioned earlier there was an increase in education revenues, but this also means that we had incurred higher educational costs. We had hoped the net result of the education programs during the year would be a surplus of $7,500. However, the year ended in a net positive of only $4,400. Lastly, unfortunately, we were the victims of fraud during the year, which cost the museum $2,000. We spent $800 more on conservation than budgeted and $2,000 more on exhibits. However, as I mentioned earlier, we did receive $2,000 more in exhibit donations, so the increase in our exhibit expenses is completely offset by the increase that we've received in donations. For the 2025 budget, we have again presented a balanced budget with revenues and expenses of $528,000. Our grants from the City of Stratford, County of Perth, and Province of Ontario are indexed every year, so those grants reflect those approved increases. Our estimates for admissions has been increased to the level that we have been able to maintain over the past couple of years, and we are confident that we are able to continue to attract the same level of interest. We anticipate maintaining the same level of other self-generated revenues, memberships, and donations as well. For the past few years, we have been increasing our revenues by increasing the utilization of our outdoor spaces of Players Backstage and the Hideaway. So our 2025 budget includes an increase to our special events. We are also planning to make changes to our Innkeepers event to reduce our costs so that we can maintain the surplus generated just by that one event alone back to what we had been able to achieve in prior years. Most of our expenses are recurring expenses and not expected to change by much year over year, except for inflationary increases. The main change to our budget is in salaries. Due to the increase in special events and due to retiring staff members, we are changing positions within the organization and hiring additional staff to help organize these events. And finally, there is once again a planned $11,000 contribution to the contingency fund based on the capital asset plan that was prepared a few years ago. In the end, we are optimistic for another successful year, and we are projecting a balanced budget for 2025. Thank you.
Sorry, everybody. Thank you, Janice. Can we have a motion to approve the Janice's Finance Chair's report? Shelley thank you for that. And a seconder? Mike Valakat, thank you. Any comments? Any opposed? Can I call for a vote? Carried. Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. Next, we're going to the auditor's report. I'd like to make reference to the annual report, which, like many other reports, was distributed in PDF, or you were sent a link because Tina's report is within the AGM. Tina Grinistich, she headed up the auditing team at FOM once again. Thank you so much, Tina. Welcome, and we would love to hear your report.
All right, good evening, everyone. We are pleased to present for your approval the museum's audited financial statements for the fiscal year that ended December 31st, 2024. Our opinion remains consistent with prior years, and we direct you to our independent auditor's report contained in the financial statement for the relevant details. Our opinion is qualified, as is common for not-for-profit and charitable organizations, and the reasons for this qualification are outlined in our report. Our report also outlines the responsibilities of management, those charged with governance, the auditor in relation to the presented financial statements. To kind of summarize, Janice did a great in-depth detail. So overall, these are just brief financial highlights I'd like to bring to your attention. Overall, total revenues on a cash basis compared to prior year were down approximately $57,000 due to less government grants received, the decrease in the innkeepers dinner fundraising event, and the funds raised in the prior year, there was funds raised for the Coroller project that did not recur this year. However, as mentioned, public donations were up $10,000 from prior year, and contributions to the museum considered artifacts on the statements were significantly higher than prior year. Grant funds received for capital projects are amortized over the useful life of the asset. And this is shown as deferred capital contributions on the statement of revenue. Overall, plus and minus non-cash transactions, the association earned approximately $77,000 in profit, of which $36,000 was utilized to pay off debt and $9,200 to purchase capital assets, leaving approximately $31,000 of the organization's operating profit retained as cash, very similar to the prior year. We would like to thank the staff and management at Stratford Perth Museum for their cooperation during our audit and availability to discuss our questions that arose during the course of the audit. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the auditor's report? Mike Valakat, thank you. And a seconder? Leanne Perot. Any comments or concerns? Okay, any opposed? Can I call for a vote? Carried, thank you. The auditor's report is approved. So full documents, once approved, will be available on our website tomorrow, both the AGM report, which is available now, and the full financials. And if you have any trouble getting them, just please reach out to me and I'll provide them for you. So next we are going to the appointment of auditors for 2025. And we happily put forth a motion to approve Fahm and Company for 2025. Can I get a motion? Shelley Stevenson. And a seconder? Ron Heichel. Thank you. Any comments or discussion? Any opposed? Can I get a vote? Carried. Fahm and Company is approved as the auditors for the 2025 fiscal. The next item is amendments to the Constitution, and there were none submitted and none from the board. So next we're going to go to my general manager's report, which I pre-recorded as well. So Aidan, could you please cue that video? Good evening, everyone. As I reflect on my first year as general manager, I am incredibly thankful for the museum volunteers, staff, and this wonderful community who have supported me. I believe that together we have built on the museum's legacy, finding new and creative ways to share the stories that matter to you. I'd like to thank in particular our phenomenal executive, Katie de Block-Boersma, David Stones, Janice Richardson, and Mike Valaket, who were there for me every step of the way. And also I want to thank our departing board members for their service, Brent Shackleton, and again, David Stones. Financially, we ended the year in a strong position. While general admissions are still on the decline as they are across the sector, we more than made up for it with our Steps to Stardom VIP backstage tours that were a major success, reclaiming that potentially essential lost revenue. Fundraising events like the Innkeeper's Dinner, Rural Roots Car Tour, and Rod Beatty's A Christmas Carol were not just well attended, they helped push us towards a surplus. Beyond finances, the museum has truly become a cultural hub, from hosting sold-out concerts and theater performances to welcoming hundreds to our free Indigenous art and cultural markets. We have strengthened our impact on the community. Our communications platform expanded significantly, and our social media reached more than 50,000 impressions on our most popular posts. Our wellness seminar series gained national recognition, attracting nearly 500 participants and leading to a traveling exhibit and seminar on the history of menopause. In today's world, museums must be creative and adaptable to thrive. And fortunately, our museum has developed versatile, welcoming spaces that allow the community to gather while staying true to our mission of celebrating local history and stories. And due to this overwhelming demand for our spaces, we recently made the decision to recalibrate and expand our staffing to better accommodate the growing number of requests. Education and outreach also saw remarkable progress. A record number of students visited the museum last spring. We broadened our free children's programs, and the Remembrance Day Banners project continues to evolve, ensuring that local veteran stories remain front and center. Looking ahead, we're developing a cultural festival to celebrate the region's workforce and launching outdoor performances featuring local artists. As we prepare for the upcoming tourism season, we're also expanding by focusing a larger reach for our Stratford Festival Archives partnered exhibit and podcast, To Thine Own Self, which highlights 50 years of bold, risk-taking performances at the Stratford Festival. There's also the ongoing discussion around the 6218, Stratford's last serviced steam locomotive engine, an opportunity we need to evaluate carefully. The museum is evolving. It's not just a place to reflect on history. It's a space where the community gathers and engages, not just as a place of history, but as a vibrant space for storytelling and connection and community. And none of this would be possible without you, our dedicated staff, volunteers, board members, and supporters. Thank you for believing in what we do, and I can't wait to see what we accomplish in the year ahead. And I believe we're off to a wonderful start. Thank you. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the general manager's report? Janice Richardson. Seconder? Leanne Perot. Any comments or concerns? Any opposed? I'd like to call for a vote. Carried. The general manager's report is approved. Okay, so next we're going to our committee report, the committee reports. They're all contained in the annual general report, which was distributed. So this includes all of the reports, including the exhibits report. I'm not mute. Great. Okay, the exhibits report, the collections report, the education and public programs report, the volunteer report, and the grants report. So hopefully you've all had a chance to take a look at those. Are there any questions? Okay, I'm now looking for one omnibus motion, looking to approve those reports that appear in the annual report. Can I get a motion? Thank you, Janice Richardson. And a seconder? Thank you, Michael Valaket. Any comments or concerns? Any opposed? Can I get a vote? Carried. Excellent. The committee reports are approved. Next, we have the nomination reports. So at this point, I'm going to hand it over to our president and board chair, Katie de Block-Boersma, who headed up our nominating committee. So Katie, the nominations report.
Thank you, Kelly. We're very fortunate to have such a strong board of directors for the museum. As noted in my report earlier this evening, and as Kelly mentioned as well, David Stones and Brent Shackleton are leaving us this year. We wish to thank them again for all of their hard work and service to the museum. I'm pleased to report that the following board members will be continuing their service during the 2025 year. Janice Richardson, Deanna Horton, Robert Wilhelm, John McIntosh, Mike Valaket, Leanne Perot, Shelley Stevenson, Ron Heichel, and Larry McCabe, along with myself. I am also very happy to be putting two new board members on the floor for nomination this evening. Laura Pogson and Eddie Matthews are both longstanding supporters of the museum, and I know will bring both experience, community connection, and love for the museum to our board. With that stated, can I I'm asking for a motion to approve the election of Laura Pogson and Eddie Matthews to the board for their first 3-year term, and also the re-election of Ron Heichel for a second 2-year term. So I'm looking for a motion.
Can we get a motion? Okay, great. David Stones, thank you. A seconder, Mike Valaket. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
My only question was Ron Heichel, an additional 2-year term. That is correct?
That is correct, David.
Not a 3-year term. Okay.
It's not a 3-year term.
Okay.
It's a 2-year term. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
Are there any other comments or concerns? And Janice, I don't think you mean to have your hand up right now in the emoji. No, she didn't. Okay, looks like there aren't. Any opposed to the approval of the slate? Great. Can we call for a vote? Carried. The slate is approved, and the board is in place for the 2025 fiscal. Okay, fantastic. Now we're going to open the floor to other business. We'd like to open it up for thoughts and comments about the evening and have a discussion. I do notice that Mayor Ritzma sent a message on the chat. I don't know if everyone can see that. He congratulates us on another amazing year at the museum and looks forward to 2025. He had to step off the meeting because he had something else that he had to do. Any other discussion?
I would say congratulations, Kelly, on a very successful financial year. And a big shout out to Janice for managing all of that on our behalf.
Mhm. Thank you, Michael. Yeah.
If I could, it's David Stones here. I
Yes.
just wanted to say goodbye.
Mhm.
After 16 or 17 years, I started working with the museum board in 2008 initially. I think I joined the board in 2009. And as you all know, I had 2 terms and 2 terms as chair as well. And it was a very rewarding and gratifying time period for me. And I feel very proud. I said to Callie just the other day, I think to have been part of a very magnificent and splendid story, really. I think we can all be very proud of what we've achieved together as a team. I worked with some great boards, and I leave with a sense of regret, but I have something very, very exciting on the horizon, as it turns out, and as I hope for. So that you'll be hearing more about that shortly. But I'm very pleased with my time on the board. It's been, as I say, very rewarding. It's been fun. Had a lot of great times, and it's wonderful to leave the museum, I think, in very excellent hands and in great financial shape, and a good strat plan in place, and a lot to look forward to. And as I said to Kella the other day in a note, I'm still living in Stratford. I'm still here, and I still intend to serve the museum in any way that is required. So I'm still out there, and I want to wish everybody the very, very best, and the new board members have a lot of fun, and enjoy yourselves, and continue the great work building our magnificent our museum in your community.
Thank you, David. Leanne, you were going to say something.
I was. I will say before I say that, David, thank you very much. That was a lovely set of words that you just delivered, and it's exciting to have been part of all the things that you've been part of, and I appreciate you bringing me on the board and being so enthusiastic about what was happening at the board to really bring others along with you. I was also going to say, Kelly, it's been really excellent to watch you sort of take flight since you were hired. It's been fun to watch you get, your feet under you, and you're just soaring, and the museum is soaring. And Laura, I'm so happy to see you on the board. So there's lots of really nice things happening. So I just wanted to throw that in there as we were having this conversation. So thanks for the few minutes.
Thanks, Leanne. And David, congratulations on whatever this might be that's coming up. I think I know what it is.
Watch next week. You might see something happen. Yeah.
Okay, we may have some news to share.
Yeah.
The museum.
But I can't share it now.
Okay, mum's the word. Mum's the word. Leanne, thanks as well. I just think of the times you came into the museum and you showed up in my office and you were like, "What do you need? How can I help you?" And it's a very kind board. All of you are so responsive when I need help, and I know I've already stated that in my part, but each and every one of you, Ron as well, Janice, you work so hard for the museum, and you really clearly care about it. So I just wanted to, and also Margaret Jack, I'm so happy to see you. And I did write in the report that this year was tough for the museum staffing wise. We had people who had to take sabbaticals, step away for a bit, and I just reflecting back on when I first started, like I left the museum and Margaret and I were on the phone every day trying to figure things out. And then I came back and she was there just marshaling everybody. What an incredibly talented person you are with people, Margaret Jackets. You've left quite a gap. I don't know if you know that or you feel that, but it's great to see you. And just to thank you to Margaret and to Deanna Delorier, who has taken a sabbatical as well. Any other comments on the floor? Okay, well, I think that we are moving towards that's the end of our discussion, actually. We're getting to the end of the AGM, everybody. Weather and problems and everything, we got through it. We're all here, thank goodness. And I think Aidan was going to post in the chat a link for those of us who are going to be re-adjourning to have our post AGM meeting. And I'm just one, oh, there it is. So if you need to copy and paste or grab that link, it's in there. Otherwise, it should be in your calendar, or you can text me and I'll get it to you. But thank you again, Aidan. You did a fantastic job. And thank you, Ballinran Entertainment. Thank you, everyone, for coming. It's wonderful to see so many people. And hopefully we will see you soon at the museum. Can I get a motion to approve the termination of the meeting? Thank you so much, Shelley Stevenson. I think we need a seconder for that too. Great, Ron Heichel, thank you very much. Any opposed to the termination of the meeting? No, great. Can I call for a vote? Fantastic. The vote is carried. Done and dusted. David, gonna miss you so much. Just on a final. All right. We will see, and Brent too, who's not here tonight. We miss him as well. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Kelly. Thanks, everyone.